I'd like to amend the agenda to add in a few things. I apologize, it's a huge day. It's already a busy meeting, but a couple of things need to be added. 5.4 is Patco. 5.5 will be Virginia Bush Sutman. 5.6 will be the Brookwoods Renewal CD certificate deposit. 5.7 will be the meeting time and dates for 2024. And 5.8 is that Joyce? I know someone's talking and I can't hear. So anyway, and 5.8 will be the Kent Fire Department racetrack. So may I get a vote to approve the amended agenda?
So moved.
Thank you. Second? All in favor? I need a show of hands, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. May I get a motion to approve the minutes from the September 12th meeting?
Oh,
Thanks you, Peter. And may I get someone second it? Thank you, Ricky. All in favor? Thank you.
Aye.
Okay, number 4, new business. I see Carly Rakovansky on the screen, so I will give it to her.
Okay. Deborah asked me to come to this meeting. And over the past 16 and a half years, we've used a lot of water here at the laundromat, but it doesn't all go back out in the sewer. And I've always felt that it was unfair that I have to pay the same rate as everybody else does. Now, when I owned the restaurant, I could see it was an infinitesimal amount, didn't go back out in the sewer. But in the laundromat, I've done some checking the past 10 days after talking to Deborah, and I've got figures to show that the amount that doesn't go out is on average 40.9%. And I would appreciate a discount rate for that, because I know it's based on the water bill, but what comes in here doesn't go out in the sewer. It goes out in the laundry. And we've weighed the laundry wet and we've weighed it dry, and that's how it averages out. So how can we come to some sort of an agreement? And this goes back to 2007 when my husband and I started this. And it just seems like the last 3 years it's gotten out of hand. But is there some way that we can come to some sort of an agreement for a laundromat being different than other businesses?
where does the water go?
It stays in the clothing and it goes out, it leaves by evaporation either in my dryers, or they take it home wet and they hang it outside on the line, or they take it home to their own dryers. We have some people whose wash machines break and then they come here, they do their laundry, then they take it home wet and dry it in their own dryers. But it doesn't all go out the sewer. What comes into this building isn't all going out in sewer, and 40.9% of it is not.
I totally understand where you're coming from. However, we've had people who've been landscaping, brand new properties here in town, and has spent crazy amounts of, money on water as well. And I don't know how we can set a precedent to, I don't know. I mean, this would be a topic that the board would have to discuss.
I understand that, yes.
I know the decision can't be made today. It's something, we would have to sit down and discuss about it and stuff like that. However, I know, you're not the most prompt of all payers on the thing, which doesn't help the situation either. And unfortunately, the bills do have to get paid, because I don't want you to have, more interest or legal fees attached to those bills and stuff. What percentage do you think would be a reasonable ask, just if there's a possibility that the board would consider putting in a discount?
Well, if you took 40.9% off of what I owe, that's just over $4,000. I don't understand why some arrangement can't be made, because it has to be equitable. And not just for me, but for the town, but for whoever comes behind me here in this business. There has to be some sort of fair agreement as to what is right here, because this isn't fair for sure. I mean, when I had the restaurant, I could understand it, but
you said it changed in the last 3 years. What made it change in the last 3 years?
oh no, what changed in the last 3 years was just income. Has made it difficult, but that has been since COVID. That's different.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I just heard about this week, so it's, Debbie, I know, came to talk to you about the bill. I think the board needs to set aside some time to discuss this and consider, what would be fair if there were to be a change to be made.
Well, I have figures and examples of different things of laundry. I could come back to another meeting with you, and one that isn't so busy, because your agenda seems really busy. And come back and have maybe just a special meeting where I could sit down with you and show you all the figures that I've gathered, showing how 10 flat sheets, for instance, when they're wet, they weigh 14.35 pounds. When they're dry, it's 8.75 pounds. That's 5.6 pounds of water. So 20 sheets, you're over a gallon of water already, just in 20 flat sheets. And in this past year, so far, just for Club Getaway, my biggest commercial customer, I've washed over 10,500 sheets, flat sheets. It's over 10,700 fitted sheets, over 15,000 pillowcases. I mean, I could go on and on. I have all these figures I can
No, but don't you put those into the cost of the laundry? I mean, I know my laundry bill here at the restaurant is enormous. Okay. During COVID, we stopped doing placemats and we went total linen. And believe me, I know what it costs, but the Santoros and Stanford Linen put those costs onto me as the customer. Don't you put a price adjustment into the customers for the weights and things like that?
No, I'm not sure how they're doing that, Santoros and whatnot. I don't understand how they're doing that.
Well, I mean, they
I mean,
obviously figure out what their costs are, And then depending upon what I'm buying from them, I mean, Stanford Laundry just told me if I considered doing hotel laundry with them, that it was done on weights. So they have a price per towel, per sheet, per pillowcase based on what they assume the weights for the waters are. And that goes to me as the customer. Isn't that something you would do to the people who do laundry there?
That's not how I based it in the past. No, it's by the piece.
Okay, but I'm just saying perhaps there should be a rate increase on your end to help pick up that cost so that you're not bearing that cost. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to make some sense of it. That's all. I'm just saying it's not fair for you to assume those costs. That cost should go to the customer. I mean, maybe you need to review what
I
pricing you
guess
have.
what I don't find fair is that I'm not sending the water to the sewer plant. Therefore, why should I have to pay for it? Why should the customer have to pay for it? Frankly,
Well,
because
when I water my gardens, why should I have to pay for it too? But I do. When we use water out in the back gardens and stuff like that. I mean, Dorothy, you were just paid an $800 water bill this past season because she chose to put in new trees and water them every day. And I just said, I'm sorry, but we can't make a special, dispensation for it, because then all of a sudden you set a different type of precedent. I'm not saying the laundry, I'm not saying you don't have a valid point. I'm just also saying that perhaps maybe if you reviewed what you charge people, that your customers could bear that cost
okay.
better.
I guess what I'm getting at is they're doing that by choice. That I'm not doing this by choice.
No, I know. Stanford Laundry doesn't do it by choice either. It's my choice to do linen or do paper
No,
napkins.
what I mean is it's your choice to water the plants, or it was her choice to water the trees. But it's not my choice. I'm paying for everything, even though it's not going out, and it's not my choice to make it not go out. I mean,
I hear
Mother
you
Nature.
on that.
It's just the
No,
way
I
it
hear you
happens.
on that. But I'm just saying, perhaps maybe it's time to review what you charge people so that that cost is borne by the customer and not by you. Maybe I'm wrong. Why don't you do this, Carly? Why don't you send us the information you have, send it to Joyce. Joyce can send it out to the board. We can all have a look at it. And either for the next meeting, or we can, if we had to call special meeting, we can do that,
Okay,
right? And this
Yeah.
way we can look at the numbers you're talking about and have it in front of us in black and white, instead of, at this moment, making a decision that we don't have enough information on.
okay,
If that sounds fair, that would be great. If you get it to her, I know she'll get it out to us right away, and all of us can have a review of it.
it'll take me a few days to print it all, to get it
That's all right.
on the computer printed out, but
That's all right. Take your time. I mean, as soon as you send it, she will get it out to us.
okay,
All right?
I will do
Right.
that. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Thanks. Thanks for coming.
Okay,
And I can appreciate, the problem, but let's see how we can look at it. Okay?
okay.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Old business. 5.1, 24 Main Street, Kazi's application. Kazi, how are you?
Good, how are you today?
I'm good. We're good.
Just want to
Um,
apologize for the last meeting. I wasn't here. I was a little confused by the arrangement, but anyway, here I am.
No, that's fine. We have your application. We have I'm looking at the drawing on my computer right now.
Okay.
And I know Bart had requested a few things on the new drawing, and it doesn't seem like, I'm not trying to be a pain in the neck about it, but it doesn't seem like the floor drains and the,
We're not putting floor drains in. We're not going to put in floor drains.
okay, that's not required by Torrington Area Health.
No,
Okay, all right, so. Okay, when he sent out the new drawing though, he didn't mark whether it's existing water lines or new water lines going in.
okay,
And because he used similar colors, it's very difficult to read. Okay, I'm not, that's, you know, the last one he did had the reds were so close to each other, you couldn't tell which red was which. And I sent him back a note. I said, just do blue, green, orange or something like that, so you can see which lines are which.
do you have the one stamped by Wesley? Is that the one that you have?
No, all I have is the one from Josh.
Okay, because we had one that was brought in, I brought in on Friday from Wesley that was stamped because it said it was required that it was stamped.
Yep.
So that one had everything updated on it. It made a version 21.
Hang on, let's see.
I know but existing water line coming into the building. I have the drawing here, so I have an existing water line coming into the building.
I thought that's the one I had just pulled up. The one I'm seeing, it still says computer imagination on it.
Yes, yes. Well, I believe he just, he reviewed it and then he stamped it just, so we could have a stamp on there because that was required.
Right.
Yep. And, so maybe you do have its version, should be version 21, but okay, the one I have shows an existing water line coming in the building. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
From the street into the building?
Okay, so the point, well, part of the point, when I sent the note off to Katie, who is the property owner, I had
Mhm.
said to her, I need it by last Tuesday so that Bart could have a review of it. And I'm not
Yes.
seeing him on the screen at the moment. I mean, he's crazy busy. So that's why I needed a week for him to be able to look at it and to make sure that everything's covered.
Sure.
The thing that makes it complicated is that it's a total change of use. Okay. So because it is change of use, we just have to make sure that everything's covered from the point of the sewer commission. Okay. So I'm hoping he's going to jump on this meeting. I sent him a text this morning. Let me see if he replied to see what time he's going to be. No, I haven't heard from him. I know he's crazy busy. That's why we had asked for it last week. Um, has the commission had a chance to look at the drawings?
Yes.
And where is everybody with that? Bart, I don't know if everybody saw the concerns that Bart had regarding the plan. That it needed, so, all right, here's a quick question. The existing sewer line, you're just using the existing sewer line, or are they putting in a new line on that?
They're using the existing sewer line.
Existing, okay. Uh, the other thing on the west drawing or the west stamp, did he indicate where the cleanouts are for which are required by code?
Yeah, they're right on top of the
It's
grease
so,
trap.
because it's so tiny to read. It's really hard to read his drawings here.
They're right on top of the grease trap. It shows that on my drawing here, it shows grease trap and an FOG clean out covers. Making
Um, I don't see that he did anything that we needed for it, though. He just drew where you're located on Route 7. Let me see what it says here. I've got to tell you, I I don't know if anybody else is having a difficult time reading it, but I can't even read what he's written, and I'm not trying to be impossible, but it's,
Got the two covers on the grease trap marked as cleanouts.
Yeah, it's typically 75 feet, I think, is required clean out as long as you're under 75 feet to your tank. I don't think you need any more clean outs.
okay. And Bart had said that he thought a separate water line for in case of fire was required, and I'm not sure what the regulations say on that. I don't know if you guys have looked into that or not. And the other thing he was concerned about is the information on the grease trap to know who, I know you're having Billy Gowell do it, but just to get the specs on it so that they have it for the records and stuff. Does anybody else have any other comments,
For
observations?
what I have here, it's a 1,000 gallon grease trap. And
Okay,
it's a 5x6, let's see, 11, let's see here what it says. 11, let's see, 115 by 61 by 48 inches. So that's in inches.
okay. The other thing he was concerned about are to show that there is adequate information about which fixtures are directly connected to the grease trap. Is the dishwasher on there?
The dishwasher.
The dishwasher is, but it says not going to the grease trap. That's the question I was gonna ask.
Okay, so I have an email from Kathy Weber that says that didn't have to go because, which I don't know why, she put that there, but I asked her what I needed on there. She put down mop sink, 3-bay sink, and vegetable sink.
Because mine here at the restaurant goes through the grease trap. So I find it interesting that it's not a requirement.
Is it an under counter machine or is it an actual push through, like Hobart
Yeah, it's a
style?
push through.
Okay.
It's
Is it a
push
low
through.
temp or high temp?
Low temp.
Could be the reason. Kathy's kind of the expert on that, but I know the things get different when you have low temp machine versus high temp machine. That would be a question for Kathy, but I know they're not always on the grease trap, and sometimes just the pot wash or your pre-wash is on the grease trap, but the machine isn't. It gets kind of silly. I've been to this a few times. There's probably a reason Kathy had said not to put it on there if she said not to put it on there.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have anything to add in? Kazi, the only other thing, I can't sign off on it today. I have to get an A-OK from Bart. He obviously got the information on Friday or Monday because I got this last night. Okay. So obviously he needs to take a look at it. And as soon as he does take a look at it, we could call a special meeting so that you can get moving along with this project. Okay. I don't want to hold you up, but I can't sign off on it without his good housekeeping seal of approval, to be honest with you. Okay. Because
Now,
I
as
just have
far
to
as-
make sure everything's covered.
Okay, when you mentioned water line now, there's an Ansel system in there, of course, for the cooking area. Because that's
Okay.
mandatory. So then you have the main coming into the building.
Okay.
So that would be sufficient, I would assume.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Okay,
right.
so
It's sort of tabled for the moment, but I will hopefully hear from him in the next day or so. And we will, as soon as I get him to pass on his review of what the new drawings look like. If there's any additional comments, I'll send them off to you so they can get, everything can get adjusted to what needs to be done. And then we can have a special meeting so that you can get started with your project.
thank
If
you very
that
much.
sounds fair, hopefully that's pretty reasonable. And, I know you're anxious to get going on it. So,
Thank you, I appreciate that.
okay. So I will wait to hear from him and then I will get back to you as soon as possible. Okay.
Okay.
One more
Great.
thing, Alyssa.
Yeah.
I think Bart would probably like on the description of the tank, the inlet and outlet. Make sure that those are right elevations inside the tank.
The
Because they
inlet
don't
and
show any of them on here, so.
Okay. Inlet and outlet
Okay.
elevations.
As soon as I get the rest of his comments, I will send them to you so that you know what still needs to be answered, and perhaps maybe he's satisfied with this as is. So, okay,
Thank you
Great.
so much.
you're
Have a
welcome.
great day.
Thanks, you too.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, 5.2 is Firefly Inn. And on them, Bart has definitely approved them for the pavement depths and things like that that needed to be adjusted, so they are in the throes of that. However, they do need to reapply for a grease trap, because that was not in the original permit. So evidently, because they're putting in a professional kitchen there, why I'm not quite positive, but they are, but because they are, it's going to require a grease trap. So the McPhee's definitely need, or whoever's in charge of the construction there is definitely going to have to apply with a grease trap permit. And otherwise, as far as the sewer lines, Bart has signed off on all of that. Okay. Next on the agenda is sewer roof. I met with Len this morning, and Bart seems to be pretty good with all the things that he was concerned about. And the literature, I had Joyce send out the literature to everybody on just the specs for the roof. And he, you see this fine piece of equipment behind me. This is one of the panels for the roof, and it's going to have the caps and everything like that. He's going to get me a revised quote on it. He said he was able to put in a thicker insulation into the roof. He's going to take the old roof off, remove the present insulation, repaint underneath, repaint the columns, clean everything up in there, as well as put the new metal roof on. And he can do that as early as November. So I told him, I said, I thought for sure we would be able to put an approval through, because Bart had signed off on all the requirements for the specs. Does anybody have anything they want to add in, or any observations or comments? Wow.
Question
right.
for Lyle?
What?
Question for Lyle?
Lyle,
Isn't the interior
Lyle, you're on mute.
metal full of holes?
Oh, it's a mess.
Okay, go ahead. I couldn't catch you. Go ahead.
So isn't the interior metal full of holes? If he takes the insulation off, it's
Well,
gonna hold up anything?
yeah, I don't know if it's holding up anything, but I guess I think the plan is for him to do it in sections. So
He's not gonna replace the interior steel, right? Just
No,
there's no interior steel. It's
No, he's
steel
just
and then
gonna clean up
insulation. Just
yeah.
when you look up, you can just see insulation.
No, he's taking out all the old insulation. He's going to sand down and repaint the columns, put in new insulation, and then put the roof on. And if everybody's good with that, provided that there's nothing unexpected, the total price is $47,500 for the roof, which is about $100,000 less than somebody else had quoted us. And we never heard from South Kent Siding.
No,
He just
never
went
heard
dark. Like, I mean, I must have 12 emails from him, and then all of a sudden he just like vanished. So anyway, so may I get a motion to approve us putting on a roof through let me give you his official name here. Advanced Construction of Connecticut, for with an approval of spending $47,500 on the roof, And if there's a margin of error, that unless it's something crazy, that we are okay to do that. And the money that's coming to do this is coming from that ARPA grant that the sewer commission received. So,
So-
So moved.
second, thanks, Peter. Thank you, Steve. All in favor? Aye. Yay. All right. I'm gonna let him know, and he's gonna get us the timing on it. And he said it should be able to be pretty fast. So that's really great.
Are we gonna send, are we gonna send a letter out to, Steve Botello? Saying we're not going with any of
We
his
could.
clients?
Yeah, we should do
Good,
that. Just
Cause
courtesy.
he contacted me again this morning, wanted
We should,
to know.
Joyce, if you could send him a letter, and I mean, I guess we should send the South Kent siding guy a letter just saying, thank you for your services, even though you didn't do anything. And just let him know that we've moved on. That's all. I just
Okay.
think that's the right thing to do. Okay, great. Patco 5.4. I don't know if you all saw the drawings from Wes Wyrick. He sent them out this morning, or yeah, sent them out as a thing. The Patco wants to put an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment on the second floor of the Patco building. And from the best of my knowledge, I said, I thought all he needed was an application to disconnect and discharge for the apartment. Does that sound fairly accurate? Anyone?
Oh,
Joyce, does he need anything more than that application? I mean, it's an existing building. The sewer line is there. This way we have a record of him as a new customer on it.
I don't think he actually needs an application.
Well, I said to him, only just so that we have a record of who is the tenant or whoever's up there, so we know for billing purposes.
Yeah, I guess he could do it for just the purposes of records, but I mean, it's
think
not like we're gonna consider the application because he's already connected. We're just gonna change the fees
Right.
that he charged.
Right.
Okay, correct. I would
Okay.
agree.
Okay, so I will that's what I told to Wes. I said, if it's any different from the meeting, I'll let you know. But I said, I believe all you would need is the application to connect and discharge. Okay. I guess I need a motion to approve that. May I have someone?
Until you have the application, there's nothing to approve.
Okay, all right, then never mind. He's done. Next, Virginia Bush Sutman. I don't know if all of you ever remember, but I kind of have a memory like an old horse here. And I remember years ago when she put that second building, that auxiliary building on her property, she said, I'm never going to use it. Well, guess what? She wants to use it as she wants to put in a bathroom and redo it. And I don't know, Joyce, did you send out the drawings from Virginia's application?
I think I only sent him to you because really there's nothing for the commission to do until she submits an application to us
Okay.
as well.
All right. Well, it came through zoning and it was just a planning and zoning site thing. So, all right. So we'll table her until she sends an official application in. I had received an email, 5.6, I received an email from Brookwood saying that they do their certificate of deposit renewal confirmation letter, and they got a new 8-month CD at Union Savings Bank because we thought it was best to keep it in town so that we could monitor it in case something happened, as opposed to having them have the funds somewhere else, perhaps earning more interest. But if something did happen up at Brookwoods, they would have the funds ready to use. So we just have a confirmation letter from him, and I will make sure that, Joyce, did you get a copy of that letter too?
I did not.
Okay, well, I will forward it over to you just so you know that it came through. 5.7, our meeting time and dates for 2024 is the 4:30 time on Tuesdays work for everybody? Does somebody want it earlier or not at all or whatever?
Seems
Sorry.
fine.
Sorry. So 4:30 is okay? Okay,
Yeah.
it will remain the second Tuesday of the month and 4:30. And Joyce brought it to my attention that pre-COVID and the Kent Fire Department had a deal with Susie Rundle that was going to clean out their grease traps. And we said that eventually they needed to put in a grease trap for the fire department. She had an under-the-counter one. And I think they need, since no one is there probably cleaning it out, I think it would probably be the best thing for them to continue with that train of thought that they needed to install an in-ground grease trap for the events that they do have there. Carly, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Yes, thank you. And I stayed because of this subject, because I didn't know why it was on your agenda. We did put an in-ground trap in. It's been in use now. Billy Gobble put it in,
Okay,
years ago now. What, 3 years ago, 4?
okay. Someone could just send us the paperwork on it,
Okay.
just saying, that it was,
I'm the secretary, so
Okay.
I'll get that to you.
okay,
And you need paperwork as to what he put in and,
when he
how it's
put it in, where,
connected,
and
or-
when he put it in.
okay,
Okay,
all right, and I have also photographs of exactly where it is.
well,
And-
that would be great to include too, because,
When it in, so I'll
Okay.
dig those out too.
great, that would be perfect.
Okay,
Thank you. That would be very helpful.
okay, now I'll go.
Okay, and
Sorry,
now I'll stop
thank
talking.
you.
I'm gonna turn this over to Lyle. It's your turn to talk.
Good afternoon, everybody. 2.4 million gallons total flow through the plant. It's an 81,000 gallon per day average. Of the total, 979,000 gallons came from Kent School. Our average biological oxygen demand and total suspended solids removal are both at 98%. We have 2 beds in use. One is ready for use and one is currently drying for cleaning. Grant continues with his test preparatory classes at the Torrington plant. As a matter of fact, he's there today. Will Gowell install cleanouts in the office building sewer line. Line actually has a belly in it. It's pitched, so it's pitched back from the main sewer line. So that's an issue that will be addressed when the new tank goes in out here, because the sewer line is going to have to be relocated from this building anyways. We also had a utility locator come, because call before you dig only locate from the meter to the pole, and really didn't have anything to do with what we were digging up. And there's lines that travel back and forth from the garage building in different locations. So we have all those located already for when we do that job out there. That was actually a $300 overrun on the 1,800 that was approved for the repair. But the way I saw it, it was going to need to be done anyways, to find the lines for that upgrade that we're going to do. Billy McCann, he mowed the field, and Will Gowell is going to give me a quote on regrading it for a more even distribution of septage, because right now we're developing a pond out in the field a little bit. So that's going to have to be addressed. And also on another note, Billy had to switch from sorghum to corn because there's not enough nutrients in the soil out there for the sorghum to prosper. He would have to fertilize. So I thought that was interesting.
So corn for how long?
I'm not following for how long.
Well, it's sorghum. We've used that all the time. So how
Yes.
long does he anticipate using the corn?
He's planning on doing corn again next year. As far as, I asked him if he was going to continue. He said next year he's going to put corn in again. We
Okay.
didn't talk about duration of that planting.
How's the sewer plant been doing with all the water we've had?
We've been all right. We've had a few spikes, but nothing is intensive to wash the plant out.
Okay,
So I'm pretty pleased with that. Okay, that's what I
Great,
have.
thank you. Thank you. Barbara. You're up.
I'm gonna share my screen. Can everybody see it?
Yeah.
Okay, I did send these reports out on Friday, so hopefully everybody had an opportunity to look at them. The first report's the actual versus budget, and trending again this month. Our revenue's actually exceeding what was budgeted just by a little bit, so that's always good news. The expenditures are basically trending with what was budgeted. There wasn't any big outliers. I did want to point out that in the budget column for this materials and supply line, this $30,000 was for the Mafia blocks. So I don't know what the timing is on the purchase of that. But
We
that's
had
why.
spread
there-
that over 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. We were supposed to do one, I think we were supposed to do one in like 20 or 20, and then the next one in 21 or 21, 22, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't we approve that in the budget?
For Mafia blocks? I don't know. Yeah, the 30,000 is in the budget. That's why I'm pointing it out.
Okay, but I'm just saying I thought we had, didn't we split that over 2 years, Lyle, or is it
Well,
something else I'm thinking of?
What happened is in conversation with Will, that quote that he gave us on the blocks and everything wasn't an accurate figure. And so honestly, we kind of shelved that project,
Okay,
you know. It would be
but it was
nice
for
to,
Mafia blocks, right?
yeah, Mafia blocks, we were gonna do, let's see, 2 sides of each one of the beds and then slope the other 2 sides of each one of the beds. And, you know, it'd be nice to have, but it was, with our budget was so tight with, you know, things we had going on, it was more of a wish list than a critical item. So we kind of backburnered that, especially after the quote was wrong and it was going to come in more than we had budgeted for.
How much higher was he going to come in at?
Will talked about it being double of what the cost, what Bill had said. So, yeah, that was pretty steep. So, I chalked it up to us. No, that would be nice to have, but we
have
necessarily
not
need it
done
right
it.
now.
Have we done any of it or no?
No, we didn't do any of the Mafia blocks.
Okay, all right. But we had a huge bill with Billy Gull, though.
We put new sand in all of it.
Sand, all right, that's what I'm thinking of. Sorry. Okay,
So this $3,044, that's a conglomeration of different vendors: Garland, Industrial Chemical, Napa, Ace Hardware, USA Blue Book, Quill. We bought a Chromebook for Grant. So all added together, that's what that 3,044 is. Outside services operating, that's the majority of that is the Billy Gavel expense for the sewer line that Lyle was just talking about. That was $2,100. Payroll expenses right on target, payroll taxes. The pension line is a little bit low because we actually budgeted for Grant to get pension, but he only gets it for 3/4 of the fiscal year. He didn't qualify for the first quarter. But the way that I put the budget in, I just spread it out over 12 months. So as the year goes on, that pension expense will level out.
mm-hmm.
Postage is up a little bit, but I think that's a reflection of the increase in the postage fees. They just keep going up and up and up. But even though year to date, we've put $16,000 over into the long-term capital and almost 5,000 into the short-term capital reserve, we're still operating at a profit at this point in the fiscal year of $14,000. So that's good.
Good.
And I guess if we don't spend that 30,000 on Mafia blocks, we may end up with a little more profit in the budget. The second report that I send out is the balance sheet. The very top portion is the cash balances in the accounts as of September 30 of this year versus September of 30 last year. And then it gives you the net change So all in all, between all the cash accounts, we're about $18,000 less in the bank than we were a year ago. The accumulated depreciation was booked for last year, so now you can see the difference was 129,000. That was the depreciation on fixed assets for last fiscal year. And then the net income, this 35 actually adds back in the amount that we transferred capital because it's not really an expense. We're just moving money from one bank account to another. But when you look at the net income this year versus last year, we're almost in the same place at the same time. And then the last report I send out is the disbursement journal for the month. And there really isn't anything of note on here. Everything is pretty standard monthly expenditures, payroll, shipping, lab testing, telephone utilities, printing of sewer bills. So that's all I got.
Thank you. So may I get a motion to approve the check register? Thanks, Steve. Second? Thanks, Peter. All in favor? Thank you. Debbie.
Oh, well, first I want to say thank you for listening about the laundromat. I look forward to hearing what you decide. And also for the apartment over Patco. I took it from your conversation. I will not include that on the November billing because it hasn't happened yet.
Correct. I don't think
Okay.
I don't think they built it yet.
Okay,
It's
all
just
right.
an empty, it's just a shell upstairs.
Okay,
So,
and now that I've mentioned the second quarter bills will be going out November 2nd and November 1st.
Okay.
So that's all I have to report.
great. Regarding the Carly thing, I'll
Mhm.
see if I can make a point to call, the laundry service that, we use up in Torrington to see what he does, because he's doing sheets and towels and stuff, and see how they figure this whole thing out. But I honestly think that she might need to think about her pricing structure. If it's costing her money, that's not kind of bright. But she still
Anything
owes
that
that
costs
bill.
40% of your profits is not right, no.
Yeah. Exactly. So she needs to come up with some new math here, I think. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And no Bart. So Ricky, are you just having a great time there? You're cracking up. Anybody have anything else they want to add in or have a conversation about, or are we good? Okay, well, wow, long meeting. They don't usually go more than 25 minutes. So meeting adjourned at 5:18. Thank you all. See you next month. Thanks.